Oh, there you go. Oh, it's your Christmas gift set.
This is going to be, I still have more pieces to get. This is going to be the $100 mechanic.
Oh, so all this $100.
This will be $100 budget to buy some tools
And just to get started.
and work for a
Get
week
started, yeah.
and see how much money you can make in a week to buy new tools.
Right.
You put half your money away for tools, half your money you live on. It's more money than you had in the first place. And I guarantee
If you're married, though, that
somebody
changes. It's a quarter.
you get a quarter
only
of
a quarter to you, and then the quarter to the wife.
Gotcha.
Or actually, it's more than the quarter. You know that.
You get 10%.
You get like 5%.
So I went to the dollar store and bought a bunch of shit.
Oh, nice.
They had these at the dollar store.
Did they really?
They had these at the dollar store. This is all dollar store shit right here.
That's awesome.
This was 16 bucks at O'Reilly, some gloves. Then I got to go to Harbor Freight and get wrenches and vice grips and picks.
So how much is this right here right now? $70.
This was $54 so far.
That's not bad.
And that's a full setup, spark plug socket. I need a longer extension.
Right.
Spark plugs. You do spark plugs on a Chevy.
Right.
It's a $50.
What about a breaker bar?
$50 job. No, this is the first week.
So you're not tackling breaker bar kind of shit.
This is week 1 of being a mechanic. You can push back calipers with this, do a brake job.
Yeah.
You can use the jack that's in the trunk. I got a cheater bar. You can find a little bar for free anywhere.
Right.
And a chunk 2x4 so that you can use the jack that's in the trunk to do a brake job on a customer's car.
Nice.
Take the tire, put the tire underneath there so you don't kill yourself. Got enough there. It's not a hammer.
But they have these. They have these at the dollar store.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's not a heavy hammer, but if you need to, break the slide pins on the brake caliper loose,
Right.
This has got a little bit of weight to it. That'll get you through a few days.
Right.
You just got to know what you have,
And how to use it.
how to use it,
Yeah.
and what your limitations are with this equipment, which is
And your-
difficult
and
for
your
people who are
knowledge and all
starting.
that, yeah.
I could do an alternator because you can use the cheater bar and you can use the sockets to do the tensioner. So there's a lot of jobs that you could possibly do with this small setup. And so that's going to be after this video. That's going to be the next video. It's going to be the $100 mechanic because I did the full tool setup, this modified tool setup in the trunk, minimum,
Right.
and then there's going to be startup tool set. All right, I have put together a quick list of the bare necessities for this $100 toolbox build. $100 budget. We are going to put together a toolbox to get you through the first week of being a mechanic. And I'm also going to show you in the rest of this video what jobs you can get away with doing with a $100 setup. So, first things first, we're going to go to a dollar store and pick up some of the non-sequential, non-essential, some of the things that you just don't need to have high quality on, like 8mm socket, brushes. Well, the 14-piece wrench set, that's a Harbor Freight issue. Flashlights, you get that at the dollar store. Scotch-Brite, you get that at the dollar store. Tape measure, you don't need it to get through the first week, but we can grab one for $1. Vice grips, I know they got one at the dollar store. Electrical tape, they might have picks. We need some RTV, brake clean, and gloves. Might have gloves in there. They don't have a voltmeter. A drain pan and a funnel. So these things add up. Brushes are $3 at Harbor Freight. Drain pan, funnels, $2 here. That's like $6-7 at Harbor Freight. Screwdrivers, they might have those. A couple dollars. We'll probably save ourselves about $12 by shopping at the dollar store first, and then we'll go to a Harbor Freight and fill out the rest of our quality tools that we need. A 5/8 socket for spark plugs, 10-piece socket set, that'll be a 10mm all the way up to 21 or 22, I believe, and socket extensions. They might have those at the dollar store. Let's go take a look. All right, so far so good. We have a drain pan and a bunch of shit. And we spent $21. $21 off of our budget, leaves $79. And I'll lay this all out for us when we get to that point. Set up a toolbox, or maybe just this drain pan and a cardboard box. We'll see. But let's go get a couple of the other things that you can't get at a Harbor Freight. Brake clean, and we'll continue. All right, well, I ran over to O'Reilly because you can't get brake clean almost anywhere else, and the silicone you need from O'Reilly also. And they happen to have a kit here, a 57-piece socket set, but this one came with the spark plug sockets. And if you add that up with the ratchet, the socket set, and the spark plug sockets, would have came to about 25 bucks. This is $16. Harbor Freight has something very comparable, 51-piece set with spark plug sockets in it for $14.99. So it's $1 difference, no big deal. 10-pack of gloves, I wear gloves. And the silicone, I use a different type of silicone, but for the example here in this video, you gotta have something to seal up oil pans or whatnot, depending on what you're working on. So good idea to get anything that's about $8. So there's a receipt for these 4 items here. Came to $32. So we'll add $32 onto the 21. That'll leave us a $47-ish budget to buy the remainder of the tools, a voltmeter and a pick set, and the wrenches at Harbor Freight. So then we'll get this all put together and see what we have.
You're going to tell some person that this is all they need, and then they're going to get to do a job, and they're going to be like, shit.
Well,
If you find a YouTube video or whatever, they may want to.
Hey, you told me these were all the tools that I need, and I'm stuck in the middle of a brake job. I need your fucking help.
I'm not saying that so much, but you might get people that have questions, like I do. Like, I mean, but I don't. I'm not.
Well, no.
hard.
Now, viewers leave a lot of comments on the channel.
Right.
And I'm as prompt as possible to answer them in as much detail, or probably way too much detail that I can. So if they have a question about this setup, I'd definitely be available to answer those questions as fast as possible. I do a lot of diagnosing, and that's why I like working in this general area, is because I'll do a lot of diagnosing for free to get the job.
Well, of course. Just like I go out and estimate stuff for free.
Or educate a person about their vehicle.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's to get the job. But when somebody has me come and look at a car, hey, I got a knock in my engine, I need to know if I need a motor or if you can save it. And then I go, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I came out here, you got to pay me for my time.
Right.
There's that. So
I know it's
you got to gauge. Yeah, you got to gauge it based on the customer. If you have to spend.
All right, here's the receipts for my buys. I got dollar store, $20.92. O'Reilly, $32.44. Harbor Freight, $46.51. A grand total of $98.87. So we got the $100 budget. I'm gonna go through right now everything that's in the kit, and then kind of talk about what you can do with what tools. And then over the course of this next week, I'll go ahead and be using that kit for as many jobs as possible to show you what jobs you can get away with doing for this $100 budget. All right, here's the entirety of our $100 setup. And that does include the case. That does not include the cheater bar and the 2x4s. Now you can get a fence post or a piece of pipe anywhere. You can get 2x4s almost anywhere else. You could even just use a cardboard box or make your own case. Just standing here, there's a case right there, and there's some 2x4s over there. So use your imagination, you can get away with a lot. Now, this is a better setup than you're gonna buy prepackaged, because the prepackaged setups, they only have the wrenches up to about size 13. They don't have voltmeters. probably come with a scraper. No brake clean, no pan for oil changes. Probably a fancier case, but that's not the purpose of this. So let's go over what we got here, how you can use it, and then this whole next week I'm going to use this kit to do my jobs and show you what jobs I can get away with doing with this setup. So first things first, they're not high quality tools, but you know, until you break it, if you can get a week out of this ratchet, hey, you're doing great. So first off, hose clamps, either a screwdriver, pair of pliers. You can get this around a couple of hoses, get them off. If you can't get the hoses to break loose, you can always use the flat edge of the screwdriver to get underneath the hose edge, break it loose. Just use some muscle. Just got to get it done. Now the oil changes, that might be a trick getting the filter off, so you might have to use old school method of stabbing it with the screwdriver to twist the old filter off, because you don't have a filter wrench. So you got to know what you got, you got to know how to use it. 21 or 22 should cover oxygen sensors. 25 is probably not going to be used for much, but you got a whole setup minus the 18, so as long as you can stay away from 18 mil, even this set doesn't come with an 18 mil socket. If you could try to avoid anything with an 18 mil, or be very careful not to strip it out with a 19. These are 12 point, not 6 point, so you could possibly strip an 18 out. If you strip something, you got a set of vice grips here, so you're good. Rags for cleanup, sandpaper for stubborn gasket material, Scotch-Brite for cleaning up water pump surfaces, intake manifold gasket surfaces, and the silicone, which isn't here, but we have a tube of silicone for sealing stuff back up. Socket set. Your limitations are the extension. You can't get down into holes to do spark plugs on imports, so you're gonna have to think ahead on that one. Avoid that job for the week until you can get yourself an extension. Hammer's going to be handy for just giving a little bit of extra oomph. Either on these wrenches, you can lock them together, or on the ratchet. If you can't get the breaker bar on there, you can hammer on it. Get a screwdriver in somewhere underneath an oil pan, hammer that sucker loose, use it as a chisel, wedge it in there, and get that job done. Voltmeter. This voltmeter has a diode tester on it, so and ohmage. You could do a lot of diagnosis with this, batteries, alternator diagnosis. That'll save you a lot of time. Brushes for some cleanup. Allen heads. You can get most of the Allen head screws that you can with this. There's going to be a lot of Torx bits on some of these new things. You want to stay away from Volkswagens, BMWs if you can avoid them. Some of the brake calipers are going to have torque bits on them, even on the Fords. So you just got to be careful of what you're working on and check it out before you jump in too deep. For the purpose of this week, we're going to use electrical tape for electrical connections. It'd be nice if you had your own pocket knife, but if you don't, you can get away with using razor blades for stripping wires, cleaning those up, and putting this together. This ain't the right way. You need to have some connectors, but if you're just doing a quick wire, one or two, it'll get you through the week. You make a new customer, you know, get them rolling, fix the stuff for the week, get back to them, fix it proper. Don't ever just leave stuff done wrong. I'm just saying, you know, wrapping up some wires, hiding some things, making it look better, not hiding shoddy work. So, picks, because you're going to be pulling some seals out here and there. You're going to need to get in somewhere. Magnet, same thing. You're going to lose a screw here and there. Nut, mirror for diagnosing some brakes, getting in somewhere, looking at some stuff. Got to have a flashlight. It's a dollar store flashlight, but it'll do the job for a week. Some gloves, because that's just me. You don't have to wear gloves, but you don't have nothing to clean your hands up with here, so except brake clean. I wouldn't spray yourself with that. Cheap lubricant, WD-40. I just don't like it. I use Freol. A lot of other people use some other stuff, PV Blaster or whatnot. I don't know if this works very well. We'll give it a test. Might turn out to be well. Oil pan and a funnel. This funnel is going to need to be cut off right about here, unless I'm using it for a transmission, which doesn't seem likely because the transmission's got more fluid than that can hold. So I do a couple oil changes and just cut the tip off this funnel so that I can actually fill it back up. Now, when you're done with your oil change, hopefully it's not too much more than 5 quarts, you're doing an import, something like that, you can just pour this oil right back into the container, and tote that off and recycle it at an O'Reilly or another place like that. So I'm gonna get this box all set back up, and then we're gonna continue trying to get these jobs done for this week. So you guys wanna follow along, subscribe now, I don't know, hit the bell, whatever you do. Make sure you don't miss any of these other videos, and I'll show you what I can get away with doing with this $100 setup. All right, thanks for watching, you guys.